We are going to talk about the past simple tense. The past simple tense is used to describe an action that was completed in the past. In other words, it began in the past and it ended in the past. The past simple tense is formed by adding the ending ed or d to the stem of the verbs, if the verbs are regular. But if the verbs are irregular, then they have their own forms in the list of irregular verbs. Look at the list of some irregular verbs. For example, ring, rang, rang, swing, swung, swung, wake, woke, woken, bring, brought, brought, stand, stood, stood, etc. Now let's talk about the form of the positive sentence in the past simple tense. The form of the positive sentence is subject plus verb in the past form, base form of the verb plus the ending ed for regular verbs, or past tense form for the irregular verbs. Now look at the examples. He lived in England last year. Let's analyze this sentence. Lived is the past tense form of the verb to live. The verb live is a regular verb. That's why we add the ending ed to the stem of the verb. The next sentence. You spoke English really well. The verb spoke is an irregular verb, so it has its own form in the past tense. So look at the form of the negative sentence. Subject plus did not plus verb in the base form. To make a negative sentence, you must use the auxiliary verb did and the negative particle not after the subject of the sentence. After did not, you must use the base form of the verb. For example, he did not live in England last year. He is the subject of the sentence, and it must be on the first place in the sentence. Then goes the negative form of the auxiliary verb did not, and then goes the verb live. It is the base form of the verb lived. The next sentence. You did not speak English really well. You is the subject of the sentence. It is on the first place in the sentence. Then goes the negative form of the auxiliary verb did not, and then goes the verb speak. Now look at the form of the interrogative sentence. To form the interrogative sentence, you must use the auxiliary verb did. To form the general question, you must put the auxiliary verb did on the first place. Did plus subject plus verb in the base form. For example, did he live in England last year? Did you speak English really well? To form the special question, you must put some special words what, when, why, where on the first place. On the second place will be the auxiliary verb did. On the third place will be the subject of the sentence, and on the fourth place will be the verb in the base form. For example, when did he live in England? How did you speak English? To form the special question to the subject of the sentence, you mustn't use the auxiliary verb did. In this special question, the word order will be quite different. So, special question who will be on the first place, then will be the verb in the past simple tense. For example, who lived in England last year? Who spoke English really well? Now look at the examples from the texts which are going to listen to. He traveled to Europe several times. It is a positive sentence. So the verb travel is a regular verb. That's why to form the past simple tense, we add the ending ed. He did not travel to Europe several times. It's a negative sentence. To form a negative sentence, you must use the negative form of the auxiliary verb did not. And then goes the infinitive form or the base form of the verb travel. Did he travel to Europe several times? It's a general question. The auxiliary verb did will be on the first place, then goes the subject of the sentence, and then the infinitive form of the verb. Where did he travel several times? It's a special question. On the first place will be the special word where. On the second place will be the auxiliary verb did. On the third place, the subject of the sentence, the pronoun he, and on the fourth place, the verb in the infinitive or in the base form travel. And one more special question. Who traveled to Europe? It's a special question to the subject of the sentence. That's why we mustn't use here the auxiliary verb did. And the verb will be in the past tense form. Who traveled to Europe? Now let's talk about the verb to be. The verb to be is an irregular verb. It has its own three forms: be, was, were, been. In the past simple tense, the verb to be has two forms: was and were. If there is the verb to be in the sentence, which is in the past simple tense, then you must not use the auxiliary verb did to form negative, interrogative sentences. The verb to be will fulfill this function itself. For example, last October the first World Championship was in China. So was is the form of the verb to be in the third person singular in the past tense form. The next sentence. Last October the first World Championship was not in China. It's a negative sentence.